Hello, my name is Richard Grant from Canine Health, professional puppy and dog training. And today I'm going to talk to you about how I teach people at an early stage how to get a really good recall out of your puppy or your dog. Now you've got to remember that the greatest gift you're ever going to give your puppy or dog is freedom. And by letting it off the lead, you're going to give it a chance to run around and really enjoy its space and its time and have some fun. And when you're going to turn it back on its lead, obviously then you're removing from them that greatest gift. So you've got to make you fantastic place to be. It's not good enough just to be sort of, oh, come on, they come on. You're going to make that a really nice experience for your pup, because you're going to ask it to leave something that's really exciting, maybe some food it's found on the ground or something, or running around with other dogs or playing with a ball or something, and it's going to come back to you, and you're then almost certainly going to do one thing, which is probably going to be to put it back on its lead. So you're then removing that gift and that joy that it's having. You've got to make you at least as good, but hopefully better than what it's already got. So we're going to start off. First thing is, a lot of people's recall starts out by just standing there shouting at their dog, using its name, and actually the dog just learns long term just to ignore it. And it doesn't work by just thinking, do you know what, I'm going to just do this every day, and some miraculous day you've been doing it for 6 months and 9 months, however long it might have been, and your dog's never come back to you, that one day it's going to suddenly think to itself, bang, yeah, I'm going to come back to you today. It doesn't work like that. If we get it right now, you're never going to be one of those people that stands in the park or field or whatever, just shouting, hollering after their dog. Very often what happens is that the person involved takes the dog to where they usually walk the dog. If you've got a dog, and if the dog is one of those dogs that doesn't come back, what they do is they stand and shout at the dog, use its name repeatedly. The dog's learned actually just to ignore it, because to the dog it becomes white noise and nagging, and eventually what happens is that person then goes to that other dog and grabs hold of it and thinks to herself, right, okay, now I'm going to teach you a lesson, clips it on the lead, and then walks home, doesn't talk to it all the way home. The best bit of that walk for that dog is the silence on the way home. So when you're going to do this, avoid being that person, because let's see that from that dog's perspective. The dog goes to its field or park or wherever it is that it's usually let off. It sees its mates, probably just a few dogs in the background there on the horizon, runs over to them, runs around, has great fun, and then it hears lots of shouting going on from its person. And then eventually what that person does is they stomp over to them, grabs hold of the collar, clips them in the lead, walks them home. The dog's thinking this: look how well I've got him trained. That dog stays out doing its thing, it hears its name, if it recognises its name, so it hears this noise going on, and the person comes to it. That dog has really worked out. It doesn't have to do anything at all, because eventually it is put back on its lead, but does nothing to achieve that. So what I'm going to show you to do is a proper way of doing this, and that is by encouraging your pup to leave what it's doing and coming back to you. Now for this, you do need to have super high value food. It's not good enough just to take a bit of your dog's biscuit or kibble, because they're going to have that anyway. What I want you to do is to take high value food, chicken, cooked clearly, chopped up a little bit into about the size of that bit of your finger there, some hot dog, raw, straight out of the packet, again same sort of size, a little bit of cheese. You don't have to give your dog lots of cheese, but just a little bit of cheese, pie crust, pizza crust, leftover Sunday lunch, whatever it is that your pup thinks, wow, that is a fantastic treat and worth coming back to you for. Now when you're doing this, there's no point in your pup being 20 metres away from you and you get your little bit of treat out from you in your pocket and you're going, yeah, look. The pup doesn't recognise that. I always encourage people, before they even let their pup off the lead, is to get down and put that treat under your pup or your dog's nose, so it knows you've got something exciting, something super tasty already, before you've even let it off the lead. And then as you let it off the lead, unclip it and go backwards immediately. Make it a chase game, but your pup or dog learns to chase you from the start of the walk. Make it a fun thing that if your pup stays with you and just checks in, you give it a treat. You don't have to, it doesn't have to sit, it doesn't have to do anything at this stage, but it just checks in, it gets a treat and a thank you and a great job from you. I always encourage people as well, is to, before you put that treat, you release the treat into your pup or your dog's mouth, is to put your left hand under its chin and take hold of its collar. Not over the top, because some dogs or puppies will learn to duck out and avoid that hand coming in because it realises it's going to be caught. But put your left hand under the chin, take hold of their collar or their harness, whatever it is that they might happen to be wearing, and then give them the food, and then plenty of sincere praise, thank you, and really appreciating what you've just done for me, because believe me, it's the greatest thing your pup is ever going to do for you. Now I'm going to break it down into stages, just at the early stages, how to learn how to do this. The first thing is, you shouldn't call your pup or your dog if you're not going to succeed. And the best way to do that is to make sure you, by using its name, and we've already learnt how to do that by the look at me phrase. So you're going to say to your pup's name, look at me. You get its attention, it turns around and looks at you. There's your attention grabber. That's your check phrase. If your pup doesn't turn around and look at you, then cut the distance down and try again. You've got to appreciate things like there might be aircraft noise, train noise, traffic noise, other distractions going on. But you've got to make this to a situation that you're going to succeed. You shouldn't be doing this for more than about 20 metres away from your puppy or your dog, so that you've got a really good chance of succeeding first time, every time. So, check phrase there is your pup's name, look at me. And if you have got your pup's attention, then say the cue word, which is come. Yay! Okay, come. Really, really enforce that into your pups so that your pup knows and understands what you're trying to achieve. As soon as your pup starts coming towards you, what I want you to do is really good open body language, and then contrary to what all your instincts might be telling you to do, is to go backwards away from your pup. Make it a happy chase game. Chase, yay! Keep talking to it, encouraging it to you all the time, and just when it's about 8 feet away from you, get down to its head height level, just squat down, good open body language to this sort of level here, so that you can get down here. You've got the treat exactly where you want your pup's head to be, left hand under its chin, take hold of its collar, give it the food, and then say thank you very much. So good open body language. Don't be one of these people that stands and does it by trying to grab their pup like that, because you'll teach your pup to back out of their space. So good open body language as it's coming into you. Make sure you do that in the same the sequence there is your left hand under the pup's chin or your dog's chin, take hold of their collar and give them the treat. And what you're doing then is ensuring that you've got control of your pup, which is the point of the recall, before you give it the food. Some dogs or puppies will learn to take the treat and clear off. So when you're doing this, make sure that you've got control of your pup, give them the food and say thank you very much. There's no need for a sit at this stage. Your pup or your dog can learn to do that, because it's very easy to get really reinforcing or enforcing the sit, and actually your pup's just done a fantastic recall, and thinking to yourself, do you know what? I've done a great thing there, and all they're doing now is telling me to sit. So there's no need to do it. Just really appreciate what your pup or dog has just done, which has gone from leaving that there, come back to you, fantastic, appreciate it, and let them know it. Okay, so now I'm going to do a visual demonstration using Indy. Now, if you get somebody to help you to do this, it's really, really good. It'll help you out enormously to get your to achieve success, which is really important at this stage. I've got the treats ready here in my hand, so I'm going to get composed. I know what I'm going to do. If you already want to make it simpler for your pup or your dog, go to your pup or your dog and get the treat under their nose, so they know you've got that really lovely bit of food already. Now, as I've talked about already, check phrase now comes in. Indy, look at me. Good girl for looking at me. Okay. Indy, come. Good girl. Good girl. Go away from your pup. Down to here. Down to your pup's head height level. Then what I'm going to do is put my left hand under her chin, take hold of her collar, got control of your pup. Yay! You can see she's loving it. There's another little extra treat for her. Thanks, Indy. Thanks for a great recall. Loads of praise, loads of contact. You can see her tail going. She's loving it. That's how you do recall.